All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Casual Crossover. Today we are at episode 13, dedicating this episode to Steve Nash on the Suns and James Harden when he was on the Rockets. And I guess both of them were on the Brooklyn Nets. So I guess we're gonna start off the podcast today with the Brooklyn Nets. So they just got eliminated by the Bucks in the game 7 when Kevin Durant airballed the game tying fadeaway shot. Yeah, game tying fadeaway shot. It was a very close one. Brooklyn was obviously depleted in terms of their roster compared to a pretty much healthy Bucks. What are your takes, guys?
Well, let me go first, Mike. I think the first thing I want to say is you gotta give credit to KD. Like he's pretty much put the team on his back for those 7 games, right? Like James Harden
Mm-hmm.
wasn't doing anything. He couldn't even make a shot. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not the same player.
Mm-hmm.
So he's he at least to me he's done everything he can to show that he can carry a team.
Yeah, I agree. Um, so after the game, James Harden did come out to the reporters and say that he was playing through a grade 2 hamstring strain or injury. Basically meaning that's a partial tear. There were a lot of people doubting what he said, saying that it was excuses. Because apparently when he initially injured the hamstring in game 1, the reports were that there were no MRI. The MRI showed that there were no structural damage to his hamstring. So a lot of people questioned his,
Hmm.
the truthfulness of James Harden saying that he was playing through this injury. So I don't know what you guys think about it. What do you think about that, Mike?
Um, I don't think he's making up excuses. I mean, we can see that he was hammered by the injury. Yeah, like his shot have no lift. He was moving very slow, very gingerly.
Mm-hmm.
There's no explosiveness whatsoever. Um, yeah, like yeah, like I think we're all surprised that the Bucks didn't take advantage of him that much. Um, because yeah, he was playing like 40 minutes, 42, 43 minutes for the last 2 games that he was playing.
Yeah, so the stat is that games 5, 6, and 7, there was a possible of 149 minutes to be played. Harden played 139 minutes.
Yeah, so he played a lot. And I feel like it. Yeah, I just think I don't think he was making it up. Like I think he was injured.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we won't know how severe it is,
Mm-hmm.
so we'll take his word for it.
Mm-hmm.
But my take on the whole series, or especially for Game 7, it was just I think Bucks had a really bad game. They got very lucky to make it to make it past them. Um, I think Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton they made timely shots, but overall it was terrible. They played terrible. Um, and then same for Brooklyn, right? Joe Harris. I think Joe Harris was the most disappointing player for them this
He's
series.
going to the CBA.
Yeah,
He's the
like
next.
I feel like yeah, like unfortunately, I hate to say that because he's a specialist. He's a 3 point specialist. It sucks
Not
that like
anymore.
I mean because 3 point specialist, right? That's what you get paid for, right? Hitting threes, right? Especially he got a lot of open shots too. And then he actually got drove in a lot of times. Just couldn't make those layups. So those were all missed opportunity as well. Um, yeah, and like what Clark was saying, yeah, KD was phenomenal. In my personal opinion, best player in the league. Like you
Yeah, I
can't
would
stop him.
agree. I would agree.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is
I
the
mean
best.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how you can criticize him this series. I mean, what the last 3 games, other than that game that they lost to the Bucks by 14 points in Milwaukee, played 48, played the whole game.
Yeah.
Like, how do
50,
you
52 yesterday?
Yeah, like how do you
right?
like you can't like, and this guy came back from the injury for
torn
right?
Achilles?
He had an injury, 2 years, right? Damn, right? 48 minutes, 52 minutes, like damn, like who's the last player that actually did that? I don't think there's anybody, or it's probably a long time ago.
What?
Like that played the full game, other than sorry, I think you told me, I think Alex, you told me
LeBron in 2018 against
LeBron
game 7 against the Celtics. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't think there should be a debate anymore.
Yeah.
KD is the best player in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks that he did. It sucks that he did. He can't make it to the Eastern Conference Final.
Yeah.
Because he totally deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just but the game 7, just in general for both teams, it was just badly played offensively.
But these are like typical game 7s, right? Where like
correct.
It's always like a lower scoring game. Everyone's a bit tense, and like you know each other's plays.
Yeah, no,
moves, right?
So like, yeah, but for me, it was just like, Drew Holiday was so poor. He have no confidence hitting threes other than the ones that he hit, like the key ones, save for Middleton. Yeah, like I give them credit for making those, timely ones, but just in general, their game was just bad for both of them, for all the secondary shooters, I would just say.
Yeah.
Okay,
secondary
can I
scores.
say, I never want to hear like Joe Harris and Klay Thompson comparisons again. Right? Remember earlier in the season? Like who won the Nets were like, hey, you know what? Like this might, I think it was KD said this might be like the one of the best shooters I've ever played with. And like that's almost a knock on Steph or Klay.
Well, he said one off, right? He didn't say he didn't say
No,
he's
like,
the best shooter. That
I know, but like
right?
don't ever bring him up in that conversation. Like this guy's getting paid
I get it.
16 million this year. Like, he's on like the Kyle Kuzma like train to China.
Hey, I got a stat for you guys. So starting from game 3 all the way to game 7, Giannis actually had a better 3-point shooting percentage than Joe Harris. How do you guys feel about that? Like, if I was Steve Nash or KD or Harden or whoever, anybody else on the Bucks, if I saw that stat in front of me, I don't know how I feel, man.
That's why I'm saying, like, yeah, it has to be said. Like, he might be the most disappointing player of this whole series.
Yeah, he sold so hard.
I wonder why they don't play like Tyler Johnson at all.
I don't know.
Like,
I did. Did you guys hear Steve Nash, one of his like interview, like those beginning of fourth quarter interview? I remember one of the interviewer was asking him. Yeah, he was asking him like, "Oh, like, are you worried about playing your players that many minutes?" And he was saying how this is all the players he have.
Yeah, he's got to work with what he's got, right?
Yeah. Like, I feel like that answer was kind of, for me, it's kind of like, is this something that you should be saying, like, publicly, like, or is that something you should address like internally? Because it's kind of it doesn't paint a good image for the rest of the player that doesn't play. Like, are you saying that they can't contribute? Like, if especially when you're playing all your seven man rotation that much, like, you can't even like give those other players, like, you don't trust those players enough even for like 3-4 minutes just to give your rotation.
Well, okay, let's talk about his players, right? So you can't play DeAndre Jordan. Dinwiddie's not even with the team. They played Jeff Green. Landry Shamet did play a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, that was it.
Tyler Johnson is the guy that I'm like,
and
hey.
Mike James, right? What happened to Mike James?
Oh, what happened?
Hey,
yeah, Mike James.
No, I just think it makes sense because in the regular season, right, your 12-man team, they probably usually play about 10 guys, right? Yeah. And then the playoffs, they cut it down to about 8.
Yeah.
Right. So then So basically, it's the coach trusting these guys, right? And then in this game 7, I think Steve Nash just can't afford to put one guy that he thinks that that might jeopardize their game 7 because they need to win this game. Yeah. So he can only go with the guys that he completely trusts 100%. Right.
But
so I
Bruce
guess
Brown though, come on.
What do you mean? Bruce Brown was out rebounding Lopez and Giannis in the paint. Like
Bruce Brown. Like, anyways, okay. Let's talk about next year, right? So they're out, but next year you have, I mean, hopefully you have 3 healthy superstars back together. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure if they're going to be able to keep Blake Griffin. He joined the Nets this year because it was a buyout, right? So he's getting like, was it minimum?
Yeah.
So I think at the very least, you have to pay this guy like close to the mid-level, or what is it? Even if you go below it, it's what, 6? Would he even resign for 6? Right, 6+.
What if he resigns for a vet min?
I don't think he's gonna do that. He's not washed up. Like,
he's not, but he wants to win.
Do you think he's gonna give up money? I can't imagine them keeping, because didn't they ask him yesterday too, and he didn't give like a very clear answer.
Well, I think he didn't want to like say anything about it and just check his options, right? It's like if people pay him, if another team pays Blake Griffin like 15 million or 20 million again, well, like what I mean, if they do that, they're gonna expect him to do more. They're gonna expect him to be your starting power forward, which wasn't his role even on the team. It was just because, like, given the situation of the Nets, right?
And I mean, and also, I think the reason how he can perform, decently is because he was pretty much didn't play the whole season, right? Pretty much sat out like 3/4 of a season. So he pretty much was like pretty fresh coming in, right? So he can play those like 42 minutes, 40-minute game, right? So imagine if he was playing like like a 6-man or even a 7-man minutes, like 25 minutes, and play like maybe 65 games. He won't. I don't know if he can duplicate the performance that he had, like the past series, right? So I don't know. Like, I'm sure there's gonna be a market for him, but like, how much is he? How much is his? What is his value? I think that's the thing that we want to see, right? Like, is he gonna be someone like in the 10 to 13 million range, or is he gonna be the mid-level, like what Clark was saying? Like, I think that's the part where if he will be interested in coming back, which I'm sure he's interested, right? Because Brooklyn next year's, they're still gonna be they're still gonna be contender for sure, right? And there's a lot of right, just having the three all-star, 3 superstar there is a good enough reason to want to be back there. But of course he wants some money too, so like, of course he's gonna keep his option open. So he won't even say anything about like, oh, wait, are you interested in coming back and stuff. Of course he'll just keep it, be like, oh, open to the idea, and then see what his market is for the summer. And yeah, but I do agree with Clark though. I don't know what their payroll situation is.
Well, the only
what kind of players, what kind of player they can get,
they're losing Dinwiddie. Basically, they're for sure going to lose Dinwiddie because Dinwiddie already declined his player option, right? Yeah. And then he is a unrestricted free agent, right? So I don't think he's like, Brooklyn will have the cap space to sign him, right? So yeah, it's gonna be hard. Like, they basically have their entire salary cap locked up, paying Jordan, paying Harris, paying the 3 guys. Like,
they have Landry Shamet on contract, and they have Claxton.
Yeah, so those guys are still on the rookies, right? Landry Shamet,
like, they do have like decent pieces, but they just need some reinforcement, like a backup.
So can they keep Mike James for another season? I think that's a pretty good choice.
Okay, so here's the thing: they need to, like, I think best case scenario for Brooklyn is if they do a sign and trade with Dinwiddie. Like, that gives them some acceptance, that they might be able to use to re-sign. Okay, because Jeff Green's not on contract too, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they can create that exception for Blake and Jeff Green. But you're coming back with the same team, and then you have DeAndre Jordan, who's just sitting on the bench for 10. Like,
hey, DeAndre Jordan, basically his mission accomplished already, right? Because his mission was to get KD, Kyrie, and James Harden coming to Brooklyn, right? So he did his job. They're gonna pay his 10 million, just let him sit on the bench, man.
yeah, but I know they're friends, but like, it's very limited to what you can do with your roster.
Right.
Oh no,
but
that's
like
what I'm saying. Like,
I think
they can let him
like
go.
the thing is like he was there first, right? So they got him there first,
Yeah.
so that he can bring in those guys. So like
so
Brooklyn can't
his mission
complain,
is done.
right?
All right.
Can't complain.
So yeah, there's really nothing they can do in free agency unless they do like a major sign and trade with Dinwiddie. It depends on what he can sign for, right? Obviously, the bigger contract he gets and they do a sign and trade, the more beneficial it is for the Nets.
Hey, I mean, they can still keep looking out for buyout guys, right? Next season, because they were thriving off buyout guys this season. They got kind of unlucky with Aldridge, right? With the heart condition. If Aldridge didn't have a heart condition, like, yo, that guy would be killing the Bucks. Right?
Yeah, Aldridge, he's pretty good in the playoffs.
Yeah. So,
hey, I just saw this today. There's some talks, and let's see how you guys feel about Horford being bought out by the Celtics.
and then you think he can try to go to the Nets?
Yeah, that's the noise right now. Like,
right? I think that's great. I think that's great. If the Nets can pick him up, oh my god,
for a vet's minimum.
Yeah,
then they don't.
Horford.
Okay, if they get Horford, they're not bringing Blake Griffin back.
They don't need Blake Griffin anymore.
Yeah, but to give Blake credit, he played really good defense on Giannis.
He played really good defense. He did.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's like it's like the new PJ Tucker, right? Of for any team that want to get him, right? he's a Giannis stopper.
Well, he just backs up, right? And the Giannis backs up, tries to get like a step in, and and they bump each other, and nothing happens. And,
maybe like a East Coast contender can sign Blake Griffin and stash him on the bench until the postseason. If they meet the Bucks,
save him, right? Save him
bring him out. Yeah, but that's basically what Steve Nash did. That's basically what Steve Nash did.
Okay, so what, Atlanta or the Sixers?
Sixers need a Blake Griffin.
Sixers need Blake Griffin.
What about Miami? What about Miami?
Miami's, I don't know what they're doing. They want everybody. Like you hear the rumors. They're like, they're trying to get on everybody. They're was it Oubre?
They want Oubre. They want Kawhi.
They want Lowry. They want Kawhi.
They want everybody. But okay. Any other things you want to talk about for the Nets? I mean, KD, he's done the most he could. Like
I think the wild card is Kyrie again, right? Next season, right? Every year's gonna be.
Well, if they can stay healthy, right? I feel like it's just
what his mentality
bad luck. Like it's just really
what
bad
his mentality about basketball, about playing basketball, like his religious belief.
Yeah, I think you guys gotta chill out on that. I think you guys gotta chill out on that. Like, who cares? Right? Kyrie's playing ball. He's playing ball. Like he was playing so good.
I'm not
up until he got hurt.
But right? I mean, I'm just saying, like his mentality. Like his mentality.
But I mean, Alex, the other thing is like, if this guy's your teammate and you're with him like almost 24/7, it might rub some of your teammates the wrong way.
Well, I mean, I don't like. I think they all like KD and Harden chose to go there.
Yeah,
right. They're friends with Kyrie for so long. Well, they know Kyrie. It's not like oh, this is the first time they've met, right? It's like this is a friend's decision, right? Friendship decision. It's different from Golden State, because I heard KD's podcast talking about Golden State. He said he never talked to anybody on Golden State before going there. Like he was like, people said that created this false image that like, oh, KD was buddies with Draymond and everything, but he said like they never hung out. He never hung out with Clay. He never hung out with Steph, right? He just thought that this was a good situation for him, and he went there and he got to know those guys. But I feel like this is completely different. It's like he went there because like, yo, these guys are my buddies. Like,
we'll see how it turns out.
I think for that, in that situation, I don't think KD have a problem with it because KD already won. KD won his titles. Kyrie won his titles, but other players haven't. Like the part where like the other teammates might be rubbed the wrong way is those players that want to win the ring, but kind of like be like, oh, like can I trust you that you're gonna give 100% effort, or are you gonna be like, oh, every few games you're like, oh, I can't play, personal reason kind of thing. I think that's the part where people are concerning about that. Yeah, like I mean, nobody's questioning his skills though. Like just like what everybody's talking about. Like nobody's gonna be like, oh, is Kyrie dependable? Like yeah, he's dependable on the court for sure, but it's his like off court stuff. It's like, yo, is he gonna be like, is he in the mood to play today? Is he gonna be like, oh, like I have a nagging injury, I can't play? Like that's the part. That's the part that people are.
You're thinking about this too hard, man. You're thinking about this too hard. Like you were thinking about that during the regular season, right? This season, fine. Look at him in the playoffs. He was good up until he got injured.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
Like there were no problems. Like there were no drama, nothing going on, right?
They were fine. They coasted. No, playoff, they're fine, right?
Exactly. So why does it matter?
No, the motivation on the playoff is different than regular season.
Look, if I'm the other players on a team, like say they bring Shamit back, they bring Jeff Green, or they bring Joe Harris back.
Well,
Kyrie can sit that. Kyrie can sit out the whole fucking season, and if I'm Joe Harris, like, am I really gonna question Kyrie's ethic or whatnot after having had a postseason like I did last season, like last year, like I'm like, hey, Kyrie, I feel like you gotta try a bit harder. Like
you don't want to create tension. Like you might not openly say it, but you internalize these things, and they kind of like get through by the end of the season, right?
I have a question though. Is Joe Harris a restricted free
agent? No, this guy's got another 4 years.
He just resigned last year. He just resigned last year. Yeah.
Oh,
he signed a 5-year this season, right? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I thought he was like in his last year or something. So he's like on restricted.
He's got 16 this year, 16 next year, 18, and then 19. Like that's his salary. But like they put too much into it, man. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, hopefully initially next season he can show that he's worth that.
I mean, initially he was not going to be the second. He wasn't supposed to be the second option. He was supposed to be like the fourth option, like the person,
that's true.
That guy that just need to hit the free, like open 3-pointers, right? But then like as the series go to game 7, he went from supposed to be the fourth option to the second option. Okay, and then I feel like it got to him, right?
Let me ask you guys something before we end this. Duncan Robinson, he's a free agent, right?
Sorry, who?
So Duncan Robinson.
Oh, Duncan Robinson.
Okay. Would you take him or would you take Joe Harris?
But Duncan Robinson also faded in that series too. He had like 2 good games and then he just faded for the rest of the series.
But say they got paid the same. Who are you taking?
I don't see too big of a difference, honestly.
Yeah, so, they're both like
So now essentially you're saying Duncan Robinson's going to get that contract about 17, 18 a year.
Yeah,
he will get it.
Damn, who's giving him that money?
There's going to be a lot of people that are going to pay him for that.
Who's got the cap space for it?
Well, I feel like any team who has a cap space for that would go for it.
4 year at 17.
I feel like at some extent you're kind of undervaluing these shooters, right? It's like yes, I see that Joe Harris had a really, really bad, but I don't think he's not worth his contract, right? Like you can isolate these two things, having a bad series and then also like being worth your contract or not, right?
No, it's I mean, as long as the team that are getting him, they're not looking at him as like the second option or whatever, then I'm sure I don't see why you won't go for him, right? I think the problem for Joe Harris this series is because he went from that fourth option to the second option, then people expectation for him is like, oh, like he will just hit the same shot that we expect him to hit when he's a fourth option guy. So when he doesn't hit it, then they're like, oh, like what the hell is what's going on with him? Like, why is he not hitting shots, right? That's the perception, right? So for Duncan Robinson, it's the same. It's like if you're a contending team, you try to get Duncan Robinson, you already have an established like first option, second option guy. So when he comes in, he's like a third option, and in today's NBA, it's always you need shooters. So yeah, it's never a bad thing to have more shooters, right? It just depends on what your expectation of him is, right? If you need a elite shooter, yeah, he's probably not it. But if you need a above average, a decent, a shooter who can create his own shot as well, Duncan Robinson is perfect, right? It's a perfect scenario for that kind of players that you're looking for.
Yeah, I agree. So
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the Nets do in the offseason. Hope KD stays healthy because he's playing the Olympics. Hope he gets
is he
rest.
Playing?
He's playing the Olympics.
I think he committed. Yeah.
He should be committing.
Yeah.
But I don't see him having too heavy of a workload playing in the Olympics, right? Like he's probably
need to.
I think he needs to take a break. Like that's crazy.
But he loves basketball, so I understand. He loves basketball. He wants to play. He wants to play at the highest level, win a gold medal for his country. That's fine.
And then Luka's already playing right now. Like they're in a competition. Like Luka's playing. Like two days ago, he was already playing. Like what?
Yeah.
These people are crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you guys next time.